Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Kari's Confessions, a Nonprofit Exec Tells All. I'm Kari Anderson, your host and principal with Incite Consulting. And as always, I'm here to share some hard earned lessons and honest truths from life inside the nonprofit world. I've spent 25 plus years in the nonprofit sector in leadership roles with 7 organizations. Now I provide coaching and consulting services to ensure that nonprofits, like yours, have the structure, systems, and practices to do your best work. Wherever I go, I continue to hear that nonprofit execs need a place to gather, to receive tools, feedback, and advice that encourages them to stay the course. It doesn't matter if you're in a village of 182 or a metropolis of millions, nonprofit work is both gratifying and lonely. I'm here to make sure that you breathe, laugh, smirk, and hopefully get excited again about the important work that you do. My podcast explores the tools and strategies that help nonprofit leaders grow their impact and build resilient organizations. Today, we're going to talk about something a little uncomfortable, but absolutely essential: leadership turnover and burnout. So, here's my first confession. For years, I thought turnover was a bad word. If someone left, it meant failure. If leaders burned out, I thought that was just the price of working in nonprofits. Ring a bell with anyone? But the truth is, leadership turnover can actually be healthy, and ignoring burnout can quietly destroy even the most mission driven organization. So today, we're unpacking the big 3. Number 1, why turnover matters. Number 2, the hidden cost of burnout. And number 3, and probably the most important, what you can do to keep your people healthy, engaged, and in it for the long haul. So, why does leadership turnover matter so much? Let's just start with turnover. I know it sounds scary, but here's the upside. New leaders bring in new energy, fresh ideas, and different perspectives. Innovation. I've seen organizations transform when a new leader came in with ideas that shook things up. Sometimes we get so used to how we've always done it that we don't even see better options, and they're right in front of our faces. Adaptability, right? So fresh perspectives help organizations pivot when the nonprofit sector shifts. And boy, have we not seen shifting this year. And shifts happen all the time. Continuous improvement. Leadership changes challenge us to grow, learn, and evolve instead of getting stuck in old patterns. So, my confession: I once resisted leadership turnover. I thought keeping the same people in place was stability. But what I actually created was stagnation. The team wasn't inspired anymore. When fresh leadership finally came in, the place lit up again. It was humbling, but it taught me that change doesn't have to equal chaos. Sometimes change equals growth. So let's talk about burnout next. Burnout is sneaky. It doesn't show up all at once. It creeps in as exhaustion, cynicism, and that nagging feeling of, what's the point anyway? I've been there, dragging myself through the week, doubting whether I was even making an impact, even as I kept grinding harder and harder and harder. So, what do the symptoms look like? Emotional exhaustion. You can't recharge even with rest. Cynicism. You find yourself thinking, again, why bother? Reduced accomplishment, doubting your own effectiveness even when the results are there. And in nonprofits, the risk is high. We take on too much because the mission matters so much. We wear multiple hats, we stretch ourselves thin, and we convince ourselves that it's just for now, week after week after month. And then adding in toxic cultures where boundaries aren't respected or communication stifled, and burnout is almost always inevitable. So, what does the impact look like? Decreased efficiency. Tired people can't perform at their best. Declining quality. Mistakes creep in. Details get missed. Stalled progress. Projects slow down or collapse altogether. My confession here: I once ignored the signs of burnout in myself and my team. I told myself we just need to push through this busy season. But that busy season never ended. Eventually, I lost 2 amazing staff members, not because they didn't love the mission, but because I didn't protect their well being. That turnover cost us dearly: time, money, and trust. So, I want to talk a little bit about the link between burnout and turnover. So the kicker here is that burnout doesn't just drain energy, it drives people out the door. When people are exhausted, disengaged, or cynical, they start looking elsewhere. And every time someone leaves, your organization loses institutional knowledge, relationships with donors, and stability. Meanwhile, the costs of recruitment and training pile up. I once worked with an organization where staff turnover was so high that no one stayed long enough to master their role. The revolving door created constant instability. Donors noticed, partners noticed, and the team that was left behind, they were even more stressed, which only accelerated the cycle. So burnout and turnover feed each other. The more people burn out, the more they leave. The more they leave, the heavier the load on those who remain. It's a vicious cycle that can quietly erode an organization's impact. So here's where leadership comes in. Leadership set the tone for whether burnout gets worse or whether it gets addressed. Transformational leadership is especially powerful in nonprofits. These leaders show empathy, meaning you actually listen to the people, listen to challenges, and validate the struggle. Transformational leaders engage in clear communication. No one's left guessing what's expected of them or their team. Transformational leaders also provide inspiration. They remind the team why the work matters, connecting day to day tasks to the bigger mission. Now, on the flip side, transactional leadership has its place too, right? Structure, accountability, and rewards for meeting goals. But the real magic is where leaders blend both structure plus inspiration. That's how you keep the wheels turning and keep the team motivated. So it's confession time again. I used to lean hard on structure and efficiency. For those of you who know me, know like I have a favorite phrase: it's structure gives you freedom, right? I just thought if we managed tasks better, burnout would disappear. It didn't. It wasn't until I started leading with empathy, actually asking people how they were doing and listening to the answers, that things shifted. People just don't need a to-do list. They need to feel valued. So what can you do? Here are some strategies to reduce burnout and turnover. A couple practical steps include wellness programs, so mental health support, stress management workshops, even simple break spaces. If you've got a physical office, right, can make a big difference. So your job as a leader is to make sure that people have reasonable workloads. Stop glorifying already the idea of overwork. Redistribute tasks or hire additional help when things pile up. And if you don't have the budget to hire someone else, perhaps actually take a look at the work and say, is this really getting us towards our mission, or are we just keeping things that don't serve us anymore? Autonomy, right? We want to allow people to have a say in their schedules or projects. Ownership builds engagement. My advice: pick one small step this month. Maybe it's setting a no emails after 7 p.m. policy. Hey, I'd prefer you to do no emails after 4 p.m. Maybe it's offering a wellness day. Even small changes can send a big signal that we care about your well being. So here's my final confession. For a long time, I thought burnout was just part of the job. I thought leadership turnover was something to avoid at all costs. But the truth is, burnout is preventable, and turnover can actually be healthy when it brings fresh ideas and energies. Nonprofits face unique challenges: limited resources, high stakes, passionate people who care deeply. That passion is powerful, but can also push us into overwork if we're not careful. So here's your most important job: protect your people, prioritize well, and prioritize their well being. Create space for rest and welcome fresh leadership when it's time. Heads up, this might be you. Right? Because when your people are healthy, your mission is unstoppable. Remember the big three: why turnover matters, the hidden cost of burnout, and what you can do to keep your people healthy, engaged, and in it for the long haul. Thanks for joining me today. If you want more real life tools and nonprofit strategy tips, visit me at inciteconsultinggroup.com or follow me on LinkedIn. And if this episode helped untangle one of your operational knots, share it with a colleague who needs to hear it. Make sure to follow me on your favorite streaming platforms, including YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Until next time, have a great week.